Hi again, everybody. Time for another episode of Ask the Lawyer. Today, our question, what do you do if you're in a truck accident? Do you know what to do next? And we have somebody here to help us. I'm Rob Rosenthal with AskTheLawyers.com. My guest is attorney Michael Greenspan with Greenspan & Greenspan, serving the New York City area. Mike, thank you for making some time for us today.
Good to speak with you.
So drivers on the road up in your area may have noticed there seems to be a lot more truck traffic, especially north of New York City. You're going to explain to us why that might be. Help us out.
Sure. What we've seen, anyone who lives and works in Westchester or Rockland or in counties north like Orange or Dutchess are seeing a lot more trucks crossing over the river these days. And look, we've got a good economy. There's a growth of e-commerce. But local media really reports that one of the big reasons for that is that trucks are deliberately avoiding crossing the Hudson River in New York City over the George Washington Bridge. And instead, they're going north to the Tappan Zee, to the Newburgh Beacon, or the Mid-Hudson Bridge, because the tolls for those northern bridges are significantly cheaper than going over the George Washington Bridge. And as a result, what it's doing is it's adding a considerable number of miles to a truck driver's travel to get from point A to point B.
And so adding miles means, and more trucks, that means more accidents. Am I right? Is that a correlation there?
Well, when you have the further a trucker has to drive, the longer he or she has to do it, there is going to be a greater increase that something bad could happen. And what we're seeing with truck cases, as opposed to car cases, is that we're trying to focus on the why.
Okay.
And truck cases just are simply different than a car crash. And let me explain. In a simple car crash, usually it's a momentary driver inattention. Driver makes a mistake. There's nothing planned. There's really no long-standing reason why that happened. So we as attorneys representing injured people are going to focus on that. But with a trucking case, now we have to look at why was the trucker in that area? What was he or she going to do, and what was the training program that was in place? Because what we found is the trucking companies that care about their drivers and care about safety have rigorous training programs, and they make sure that their truck drivers are well trained, well rested, and they keep themselves and the members of the public safe. Trucking companies that aren't as interested in training aren't then as interested in people's safety. And it is the truck driver that does not have the right training, that does not have the right experience, will be in a situation where what might seem to be momentary inattention is really just the trigger of a long-standing series of events which led the trucker to that situation and caused them to potentially catastrophically injure somebody.
And so you're talking about a motivation thing. And so if the trucking companies decide we're going to send our drivers to this area where maybe there's way more traffic or maybe it's a lot longer and it comes down to they made that decision to save a few dollars in toll fees, correct?
That could be it. And again, it's when you go back to training is we need to focus on, did that trucking company really care about safety? Did they just say, well, this person has a CDL, a commercial driver's license, so our job is done? Well, who among us accepts the minimum? If a person is going to be put in a vehicle which weighing thousands of pounds, potentially carrying hazardous materials, it's up to that company to make sure that that trucker is well trained, understands what are risky behaviors, the things that truckers are never allowed to do. So let's say you've got your tired trucker, and the trucker is now proceeding through this area and pulls over to the side of the road for whatever reason. Well, truck drivers are instructed that pulling over to the side of the road in a non-emergency situation is something you're not supposed to do. And when a truck is now pulled over on the side of the road, that could cause a crash with the truck if it under circumstances, especially in bad weather. Mm-hmm. So what we as attorneys are trying to do is we have to backtrack. What put the truck driver there? What did the company teach that driver? Why was the trucker there? And why did this crash happen? Because when we follow the whole chain of events, well, we can see this may not necessarily be just a momentary inattention by a driver, but again, the culmination of a whole series of events that put that trucker there and caused the crash.
So figuring out that responsibility and all that sort of thing, not something, Mike, that you would expect average vehicle driver to be able to do, especially if they're injured in an accident. That's why they need to contact someone like yourself. So is this the kind of thing? So let's take it back. I'm in an accident for whatever reason with a big truck, a crash, and I'm injured. What do I do? What is the first thing I should do? How quickly do I need to do this?
Well, what is most important is to get medical attention right away.
Sure.
But what is necessary to realize is that there are going to be a whole bunch of moving parts. So obviously, once the medical attention is received, now you're going to need to get a hold of an attorney who's experienced in handling these cases, because there are a lot of things that have to be done to preserve the evidence right away.
Okay.
And let me explain. Unlike in most cars, in trucking cases, there is technology in place where the trucking company has what they even describe as having a manager sitting in the passenger seat. They could know how far that truck driver was driving, where they were, what time they left, what their speed was, what their action was. We need to make sure that material is preserved. There's a lot of information through technology that has to be obtained right away. Mm-hmm. And the longer a person is going to wait in getting the services of an attorney who handle these types of cases, the greater the likelihood that the crucial evidence to explain what happened may be lost, either presumably inadvertently, mm-hmm. or in some more egregious cases, maybe not inadvertently.
So it's obviously to your advantage to get someone involved as quickly as possible. Don't wait until, well, I want to talk to my brother-in-law and see what he thinks or something like that. Get somebody on your side, because I assume the truck driver's going to have people working on his side immediately.
Sometimes a trucking case can involve a solo person, an owner-operator, and sometimes they could be a driver for a large multinational corporation. So it runs the gamut. And when somebody is hurt in one of these crashes, there are going to be medical bills, lost wages, and they're going to need someone to navigate through, because there are insurance companies, not just one, perhaps several, that are involved. Mm-hmm. So when you're hurt, when you're in pain, it's really hard to focus and figure out anything beyond how am I going to get better. And what we do is we try to give our clients the ease and comfort. We're going to be the ones dealing with the insurance companies. We're going to be the ones making sure that your medicals are paid, your lost wages as a result of the crash are taken care of. And it is our job to make sure that the evidence surrounding what happened is preserved, and that we get in place right away to make sure that we get all the information necessary so that we can get the facts on our side and be able to successfully prosecute your case and hold those responsible for that happening.
So Mike, what if somebody's thinking, my life has just been turned upside down. Maybe I'm in the hospital, I can't work. How can I afford a firm to take my case?
Well, the good news is that in cases like this, when you hire a lawyer, you don't pay the lawyer up front. We don't ask for you to give us a retainer. We don't charge you on an hourly basis. Instead, we get paid on success. And success means that the insurer or the company, for the at-fault individual or company, whoever they be, pays you compensation, you the injured person, compensation for your pain, your suffering, your lost wages, all sorts of economic damages. If we don't recover any money for you, you pay us nothing.
As usual, it's lots of great helpful information, Mike. I appreciate it. I'm sure you've helped a lot of people today.
Well, listen, it's a pleasure. And, we have a situation where with what we do, we get to help people. And it's really gratifying to be able to have somebody who comes to you at a lousy time in their life has been turned upside down and they're hurting, and we can put them at ease, and then we can get justice for them. And it's a tremendous satisfaction for what I do.
Great. That's great work you're doing, Mike. I look forward to talking to you again next time. Thank you so much.
Be well.
That's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been attorney Michael Greenspan in the New York City area. If you want the best information about truck accidents, or you're ready to choose a lawyer that lawyers choose, make sure to go to askthelawyer.com. Also, please take a second to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any future episodes. I'm Rob Rosenthal. Thanks for watching with AskTheLawyers.com.